Hello, fabulous Sonder fam. Happy Sunday evening, getting ready to set up that week. And I know a lot of you I saw in the chat kind of going back and forth because you could be staying in the December journal for this week because we do have those days in there. Or you might have decided I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into January, even though January doesn't start until Thursday. It's totally up to you. Some people use both. I usually kind of have both of them hanging around. I will probably be working mostly in my December journal just to kind of close things out. But again, it's kind of that back and forth. So if you are using your January journal, we're going to be working on pages 26 and 27. If you are working in your December journal, we're going to be working on pages 52 and 53. So again, totally up to you, however you like to do it. Maybe some of you don't even have December's journal yet. Maybe you're brand new. Again, it's just that kind of like figuring out which is which. I always say when I rule the world, I will make it so that all months start on a Monday and we will just have 13 months and it will be fine and it will make things so much tidier. But until that happens, we will just have to make do with the imperfection that is the numbers on the calendar. So we have kind of the two journals going. So if you haven't met me yet, my name is Maya, and I am coming to you from Denver, Colorado, where we finally had some snow last night. This morning, it was finally cooler. It's been in the 60s, mid 60s for like the last week. It finally dropped down. We had a little cold front go through, and I think it got down to like maybe 17 last night, so it was cooler today, but it's gonna pop back up. So it's just that the way that weather goes. So, is there anybody who's brand new? This is your first setup, or maybe your first weekly setup. You can just put me or I'm new there in the chat. We want to make sure to welcome our new folks. Lena, new, welcome. Glad to have you here with us. So, we do these weekly setups, we do monthly setups. I always try to tell people sometimes that chat gets rolling really fast. There's usually upwards of 100 people here. And so, it can be a little distracting. So sometimes folks like to turn it off and focus on their journal, or some folks like to hang on. Katrina, welcome. Nicole, is it Nicole is her first? So sometimes people turn off the chat, they'll focus on working in their journal. Sometimes people just hang out in the chat, take notes. I highly recommend that you do screenshots, where I'm going to show you lots of examples of ways that our Sonder fam have use these different sections so that you can get some ideas. We do record these socials. They go into the YouTube channel. I know Jen, my fabulous co-facilitator here tonight, she is in the chat. She dropped in some links. She'll drop in links for you there so that you can access those. Just know that the recording does not have the chat there. It's only the recording of the going through the slides and me talking. So it is much more fun to be here in person, but in a pinch, going through the recordings can be helpful. So I do also want to mention that you want to make sure you set your chat to everyone. If you want to share with the whole Sonder fam, it's that little blue box there in the chat. If you are on an iPhone or an iPad, it has an obnoxious tendency to keep defaulting back to host and panelist. And when that happens, the only people that will see what you write are myself and Jen O. If we're the only ones you want to see, that's fine. But just so you know, that's how that works. And again, you can participate as much or as little in the chat as you want, right? No pressure here at all. And then a few other community guidelines just to make sure this is a safe and secure, supportive space for everybody. We're kind and courteous to both ourselves and to others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's fine to ask folks what pens they use or markers that don't bleed through. But we try to keep it focused on the different areas that we're working on and kind of keep that chat focused there. So best place to ask those product and accessory questions are in our Sonder Club app. So hopefully you have that and you're able to get into that. Any of those customer care inquiries, I'll go to hello@silkandsonder.com. So if you have a billing question, if you have a shipping question, you need to update your credit card, information, all of those go hello@silkandsonder.com. Jen and I don't have access to your account, so we can't look anything up or fix anything for you. So that's definitely the way to go. And then ultimately remember that these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And boy, do we have a super supportive, helpful, fun, creative, intelligent community here. But ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything that is like it's just not hitting right, it's just not your jam, you don't really feel like filling out that page or whatever, want to do something else, do what you need to do, right? Work on what you want to work on. There's no journal police. Nobody's going to come knocking on your door and telling you you're doing it wrong. You can kind of do what you need with this hour. This is you carving out that time to do a little planning, maybe do a little reflecting, and really kind of getting to know yourself a little bit more. So if the music that I play isn't your jam, you can mute that. If my voice isn't your jam, you can mute me. We have closed captioning enabled, so you can do whatever you need to do. Again, I cannot stress that enough. No wrong way to come to a social, no wrong way to work in your journal. This is just all for you. And I did have to add this little cartoon, December 26th through December 30th, or maybe even the 31st, or maybe even January 1st. It kind of becomes that, like, what day is it? I need to eat a vegetable, right? So it's that we're in kind of that weird liminal time of kind of in between holiday and New Year. And a lot of people are kind of needing this structure sometimes of planning this week so that you can feel like you're really able to be yourself and really able to do what you need to do. So let us also want to mention, we do have the New Year Real You, the 2026 Glow Up that our fabulous founder Meha is going to be leading January 15th. And so it's a live event with her. It's the same kind of thing as these webinars. Just know that when we do these, I can't see you. I can't hear you. Nobody else can see or hear you. Only can see what you type in the chat. So you never have to worry about that. Yeah, Amanda, I promise you, Meha and the facilitators will not start coming to your house to see your journal. But that would be kind of funny, huh? So there is a small charge for this one, just so you know, because it is an exclusive event. So hopefully maybe we will see you at that. I see people talking about the vegetable and saying coffee is a bean. Does that count? Or how about edamame? Edamame is probably more vegetable-like than the coffee bean. But hey, who am I to say no coffee? I'm not going to say that at all. So this month's theme, December, we're closing out on the renewal theme. Doesn't mean that we can't talk about renewal anymore, but that's what we're closing out on. Again, if you're really liking that theme and you want to kind of finish up the week with renewal, that's great. If you'd prefer to jump straight into January's alignment theme, you can totally do that as well. I really liked this quote that said, "May we all emerge from winter with our strength renewed and any unwanted pieces left under the ice." So I think that's kind of a nice way to kind of think about that. I also earlier learned the new word apricity, which is the warmth of the sun in winter, which does definitely feel different from summer sun. I always do like the warm sun in the winter, even when it's cold outside. So some of us are still kind of digging in the renewal theme. Some of us are ready for that alignment. Again, you do what you want to do. So tonight we're going to do a little bit of a bonus mind map. It's kind of wrapping up that theme of renewal, kind of wrapping up the year a little bit. We're going to do our rosebud thorn, which is in your December journal on page 50. And then we're going to do our weekly setup pages. So if you know me, I always use these two little cartoons to emphasize a couple of points. The first one says there's room for you here just as you are. So happy, good things to celebrate, awesomeness going on, share it. Things aren't going so well, having some struggles, having some stress. I saw some people saying things like, I'm over December, I'm over 2025, right? Things have been a little bit of a struggle. I will admit 2025 for me had a lot of bumps, a lot of big bumps. And hoping that 2026 is is going to be a little bit better. Yeah, some people, goodbye dumpster fire. I'm ready for some new beginnings. So share what you need to share, right? We're all here to kind of share how things are going. You don't have to censor yourself and say, oh, I don't want to be too negative, or oh, I don't want to sound like Pollyanna. Everything's great, right? Just sharing what's going on. And then the other thing I like to stress is the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. Nobody can tell you, oh, you should be happy that this happened, or oh, you shouldn't be sad, or you shouldn't be mad, right? Our feelings are just our feelings. They're not bad or unworthy. They just are how they are, and that's what we're here. That's what we're here for, right? To just kind of share the feels, share what's going on, and we can maybe empathize. We can offer some suggestions, all of that, and just kind of be here together to support each other in our community. So let's do our renewal bonus mind map first. So if you've been doing the mind map, usually we will always have the four. We always set up the in four because people will like to divide their page into four quadrants. This is going to be a bonus for that. So you can use maybe a scratch pad section. You can use any blank pages or blank spaces you have left. You can use your January, December journal, like whatever you would like there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 3 deep breaths to just kind of center ourselves and clear our minds, right? So we're just going to take a nice deep breath in. We're just going to blow that out. Another one. You can close your eyes if you want to. And then just take that nice third breath, just kind of centering ourselves, grounding ourselves, maybe putting your feet on the floor, sitting really firm in your seat, taking those deep breaths. And I want you to think about the growth, the knowledge, and the space that you have created in 2025. No judgment of good, bad, whatever, just growth, knowledge, and space. And with that in mind, what is something that you want to experience in 2026? Consider what you might embrace, seek out, multiply, or bring along, right? So maybe I found this fun little graphic of things like more sleep, more music, more tea, more books, more sunsets, more creating, more long walks, more laughter, more hugs, more dreaming, more road trips, more fun, more joy. Focusing on those steps in front of you, not the whole staircase. So, what are some things that you want to embrace, that you want to seek out, that you maybe want to have more of in 2026? And if maybe there were some things that were going well, you want to bring those in to 2025, bringing them into 2026 from 2025, right? So I will be quiet. I will play a little music to let you work on this, and then we will check back in and we'll keep moving on. Hey, thanks for sharing. Some folks were sharing some of the different things that they want to bring forward, that they want to experience, that they want to embrace in 2026. So maybe things like clarity, maybe things like relief, maybe things like slowness, focusing on some different actions folks can take when they can't control. Right. When you can't control things, really kind of thinking about ways to move forward. Um, was trying to see some other things, more things going my way, right? Maybe experiencing some more sleep, maybe experiencing some time to slow down, maybe travel. I always like to tell people like travel doesn't have to be to another country. Travel can be in your own state. I think a lot of times we overlook the fun things we can do right in our own backyard, thinking that we have to go far. So maybe 2026 is a explore my backyard, right? And kind of see what kinds of fun things, museums or different things that I can do right within my own town to kind of see what's there. So thanks everyone for sharing in the chat. Again, this might be something that you want to think on all week long, right? And maybe it's something you just add to every day. You think a little bit about what more do you want, what do you want to be seeking out or bringing along? So, thank you all for sharing there in the chat and thinking about that for just a few moments. Now we're going to move on to our rosebud thorn. It is going to be on, looks like page 50 in our December journal, or it could be, you could just use a blank page or space in your January journal if you would like, whatever works for you. And we're going to think about our rose, our bud, and our thorn from these last 7 days. So I like to start with the thorn so I can get the icky, annoying part out of the way, right? So the thorn is something that's challenging, something that's irritating. Maybe it's something that's out of our control. Maybe it's a bad habit or a bad behavior that we can't quite seem to shake. For me, I really am trying to get over the FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. I'm always like, we've got to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do all the things. And then I can't figure out why I am exhausted, right? So, Nicole, this isn't necessarily in your January journal because it's always at the end of the week. So there isn't one from this week in January. If you use the one that's on page 30, that's really for next week. So you just kind of want to use a blank space for this right now, or you could maybe add it into page 30 if you wanted to, but then still have the time to do that. Yeah, Brenda's saying JOMO, right? The joy of missing out. I haven't quite latched onto that yet. I still have a little issue with the FOMO. So that's been my thorn for the week. The bud is something that is an emerging opportunity, something that's coming up, something that's exciting, something that you're looking forward to. So for us, we are leaving tomorrow to go to Iceland. We'll be there for New Year's Eve. It's actually a really quick trip. This will be our fourth time in Iceland, and we had some credit that we needed to use. So we just thought, oh, we're going to do a quick. So we're going to do New Year's Eve. I think it'll be really fun. We're going to take a bonfire tour because they do a lot of big bonfires on New Year's Eve. And of course, there's not a lot of sunlight there right now. The sun comes up at about 11 o'clock in the morning and goes down at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's lots of fireworks, I guess, like all day on the 31st. So I'll try to post some pictures in Sonder Club for all of you so you can kind of see the fun thing. I highly recommend Iceland. Like I said, we've been there 3 times before, and it is just amazing. I think I could go there every year and find more fun things to do. And then our rose is something that was a highlight, something that was fun, something that we enjoyed, something that made us happy, something that made us smile. And so for me, this week really has been the time with friends and family. We've had very low key holiday hanging out, going to places with friends, going over to family's house, just having lovely times together. So that's been my rose. So feel free to share Rosebud Thorn in the chat if you would like. I will play a little bit of music for you to work on that, and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. Oops. Right. Thank you all for sharing those roses, the buds, and the thorns. Um, I think it's always important for us to take just a few minutes, like we do at the end of every week, just to really kind of think about each of these areas, because I think sometimes we tend to rush from week to week and we tend to forget the things that happened, the good and the not so good, right? And then this is always a nice page to look back at the end of the month when you're thinking about overall for the month what went well, the wins, the challenges, and those kinds of things. And you can go back and look at that rosebud thorn. Sometimes, if you can't remember what happened in the last week, it can be really good to look back at your phone pictures, maybe that you took, or your calendar, just to kind of give yourself that little gentle reminder of what you did over the week so you can just spend a little time reflecting. So, thank you all for spending just a little time reflecting on that past week and writing those in there. So, we will now dive into our weekly planner. Again, if you are still wanting to work in December, this is going to be on page 52 and 53. If you have decided that you are ready to jump into January, it's on page 26 and 27. Just notice if you're in January, it'll say week 1, and if you're in December, it will say week 53. So just so you know, little bit different there. I did put in a couple of these little pictures just to kind of give you some things to think about as we go to fill in some of these boxes. Things, little things, big joy. So that first sip of coffee, desserts for breakfast, setting new goals, right? This can be a little thing, big joy as you do afternoon naps, getting lost in a book, playlist, losing track of the days, catching up with friends, all of those things. And then I also popped in from our Silk and Sonder Instagram page, we have small but mighty ways to stay motivated in 2026. So, identifying the why behind your goals, journaling to track your progress, then tracking your progress with some of our trackers that we have, saying an affirmation out loud, getting some movement in daily, finding an accountability buddy, understanding that failure can lead to success, break big goals into small steps, and committing to your bedtime. So all of those are small but mighty ways to help you stay committed, to help you stay motivated as we go into 2026. So I'm going to kind of break things up a little bit. I'm going to kind of flip it and do the very last part first, just because I think this is kind of fun. So over on either page 27 or 53, depending on which journal you're in, there's the little I am loving box down at the bottom. And I think this is another kind of fun way. You can either use it as a reflection, maybe midweek or at the end of the week, or maybe you're reflecting on what it is right now that you're loving. But what are you loving? What are you enjoying? What is making you happy? Any of those kinds of things in there. So I just kind of put in there like what our home looks like in winter. So things like a winter book themed corner or coffee, tea, hot cocoa. I found a fun little year of yarn bingo that I thought was kind of fun that involved not actually buying yarn, right? But doing some different things with that. And then I liked this idea that it seems like everything sleeps in winter, but it's really a time of renewal and reflection. So kind of thinking, yeah, short work weeks, definitely something that you people can be loving. The golden hour, seeing that warm winter sun is definitely something that we can be loving. Yes, yarn is definitely my weakness. Oh, Amanda says all of the leftovers in her fridge. Um, the December Doodle a Day challenge. What else? The endless possibilities that a new year brings, break from work, being able to focus on time with her mom and resting. A little bit more light. Yes, we have passed the winter solstice. So we are getting just a few minutes more of light every day now. So that's great. Snuggling with the pup under cover of electric blanket. I love that. So this is just a fun little part there that we can kind of think about what we're loving, think about what we're enjoying. And this would also be good to help you with your rosebud thorn for next week, right? So all of those are super fun little things. So let's go back over to page either 52 or 26 up there at the top, how we want to feel. So this is just a way where we can set our intention for the week, how we want to feel, how we want to show up for the world, how we want to show up for ourselves, that feeling that we want to cultivate. So it could just be one word, it could be a set of words. Maybe it's fun in the sun, maybe there's not a lot of sun, maybe it's fun in the snow. Feeling mighty, feeling self-love, feeling peaceful in the pause, this little pause time, 1% better, grace and restored. Starting with the word of the year, lighter. I know a lot of you have talked about setting a word of the year that you want. So maybe that's going to be how you want to feel. You're going to kind of pop that word in there. Renewal is still obviously good. Rested, um, reassured. Those are all great words. I'm going to let you think about your word. I'll play a brief little song and let you kind of, if you want, you can kind of pop that word there into the chat and then we'll keep moving on. Lots of great words there. We had calm and peaceful. Um, what else do we have in there? Aware, gentle, harmonious. What else do we have in here? Energetic, encouraging, lots of great words. And I love just kind of spending that time just kind of thinking of that word. And then as we think of how we want to feel, then we can go into those three weekly major three goals. And I like to set up my goals. If I accomplish these goals this week, they will help me feel that feeling that I want to feel. Right. So, and you don't need that perfect plan for next year to be worthy of a fresh start. Every week really can be a fresh start. Every day can be a fresh start, really, if you think about it. So, for those three goals, maybe you want to use December intentions or your January intentions and monthly habit trackers to help you set those goals. Maybe you want to set the goals through the lens of renewal, or if you're already onto alignment, you want to set it through those goals or through that lens. Maybe you want to set some no goals like, maybe it's no alcohol, maybe no added sugar, no more than a certain number of minutes on social media, no impulse spending, no takeout meals. Look at those previous weeks or journals to see what outstanding goals you might still want to accomplish, what is still there that you want to finish up. Maybe you want to frame your goals around a single personal challenge. So maybe it's something like some sort of a fitness challenge. You want to do 5 push-ups each day, or you want to maybe you want to walk for 10 minutes 3 times a day, that kind of thing. Some goals there. Maybe it's self-care, some decluttering. A lot of us talked about decluttering, how we can kind of do that as well. And maybe it's a new recipe. Maybe you want to try some new recipes here for the month or for the week. And I also popped in this little what helps with the winter blues. So staying warm, scheduling activities, let's see, nourishing food, cozy atmospheres. Again, remember to take a quick snap of some of these and see what's on there. Also, here's some examples of folks with their feeling and their three goals, right? So they have maybe body, mind, and spirit, mind, body, and work. We have, I like this one. They want to feel peaceful and empowered. So they're going to do some daily rituals for peace. They're going to empower some actions. They're going to do some mindful awareness, different things that they're going to do. So that's a nice plan to kind of think about, again, how those goals reflect that feeling and can support that feeling. Here's some other fun examples of things some folks have done. Some people draw a cute little picture of somebody snuggled in there, and they wanted to feel warm and cozy, and so they're all snuggled in. Maybe we want to have a left brain, a right brain, and a no brain goal, that one in the middle. I found this fun little January. I don't know what this little green guy is, but he's really cute. I don't know if he's like an apple or a pea or what he is, but he's super cute. So maybe you want to have some goals like hosting an at-home movie night or having a phone-free day, taking a candlelit shower. Is he a sprout? He's so cute. I just thought he was super cute. I just had to share because he's just such a cute little green guy. Or maybe you want to change it up. You don't want to have goals, so you want to have maybe 3 new words. If you're learning a new language, maybe you want to pop that in there. Maybe some holiday movies you still want to watch. I'll be honest, we watched the new one with Michelle Pfeiffer and Dennis Leary. Um, I can't remember what it was called, but it was not great. I will be honest. I don't recommend it. Uh, and then, or maybe you want to do a playlist for the week, maybe some fun activities for yourself. Um, anything, anything that you want to put in there. Or maybe you're not going to fill out the weekly major 3 goals. You're just going to put some stickers in there, right? You totally, totally can do that. So think about what you're going to do there for those 3 goals. I'll play a little bit of music and then we'll check back in. I see some people talking about that they were doing the woobles, the little crochet kits. Um, and Nikki says that the only piece it brought her was muttering some stupid piece, like she was having a hard time with her little wooble. Honestly, when I first learned knitting, there was a lot of naughty words that were used, but I've been knitting since 2001, so it's not quite as bad anymore. So sometimes it can be cathartic to work on those kinds of things, and it's not always intuitive. So don't feel bad. Don't give up. You can kind of keep working there as that goes. Let's talk about our to-dos, and we're also going to talk about our habits and activities at the same time, because sometimes Um, those are kind of interchangeable, right? So I added a few cute little pictures here about filling your festive cup. Notice taking a nap is on there a lot. um, Maybe cozying up with a book, being present in the moment, skin and body care routines, those kinds of things. Here's some examples of some things that folks have put in the to-dos. Again, some fun stickers, maybe having a work in a home to do if you're at work this week. Just some basic lists of to-do, some morning and evening routines, maybe some ways to get back into your routine to help you transition back in when January rolls around again. I have a little picture of the January bucket list there with some fun things there that you could maybe pop on there, doing a puzzle. Maybe you just want to draw a picture here. Maybe you want to just add some stickers here. Maybe you want to think about how you want to be, not to do, but you want to be positive, proud, productive, powerful. Maybe you want to make a list of what not to do. I don't want to doubt my self-worth. I will not embrace negative self-talk, right? Like those kinds of things. Maybe it will be, I will not give up on my Wooble. Or maybe it will be you will give up on your Wooble, or it'll take a little time out and work on it again later, right? So lots of good ideas here. And then our habits and activities down at the bottom. This is a lot of times people ask, how is this different from our habit wheel, our habit tracker? And really, these are things that are specific to the week. So it can really change. It can really change up from week to week. So I added in some, I thought this was really important, how to cope with post-celebration blues. And I think sometimes the holiday is a little bit of a letdown because we're like, oh, we're gearing up, we're getting ready, we're doing stuff with family, we're doing stuff with friends, and then it kind of ebbs away. And so here's some ideas of different things that you could do. I like listening to music, practicing extra acts of self-care, those kinds of things. So yeah, grab some screenshots of these ideas, maybe morning habits to make your day better in 2026. So here's a good chance to practice some of those before we get into January. Staying hydrated. I know a lot of people in the monthly setup we're talking about wanting to increase their water. Winter wellness habits, again, the hydration thing, taking your vitamins, stretching, staying social, writing in your journal, limiting that screen time, getting outside if you can, those kinds of things. Here's some examples of ways folks have filled this out. The little where it says goal and there's like the little line, the idea there is how many times a week you want to do that. So you probably don't want to do all of them all 7 days, right? That's a little much. Some people like to use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. So the first thing they're going to do 5 times that week, and then 4 times, 3 times, 2 times, and then once. So that's a fun way to do it. You can see the one on the bottom where she kind of circled in, here's the days that I'm going to do that thing. And so she kind of drew a little line around the circle to kind of see what she wanted to do. You don't have to fill in every line, right? Or you could also cross out some days. That one in the top middle, she crossed out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? Because she's like, okay, those aren't going to be days when this has to happen. So this is a nice place to maybe try out some habits, or habities, as I called them one time when I was combining the word habit and activities because I was talking too fast. So kind of try out something and see how it works, see what that looks like. And here's some other ones. Highly recommend, if you don't follow Ordinary and Happy on Instagram, they are a great account to follow. You can also sign up on their website to get a daily email that will have lots of fun little calendars like this 30 days of doing little things for yourself, right? So lots of fun little things to do. So I'll play just a little bit of music, work on those two sections, think about that, and then we'll be back and we'll check back in. Okay, I know that wasn't a ton of time, but it's always good to kind of we always run out of time so quick, so I want to make sure I get through everything. So remember, you can always take more time after the social to keep working on your journal and to keep filling things in. So hopefully everybody's got some screenshots of these. And like Jen had pointed out in the chat, the more accounts you follow that are positive, that give you lots of warm fuzzies, like that ordinary and happy, or this one is the ambitiously Alexa. She always has super fun things on there. The more that you follow like that, the more the algorithm will feed you and the more the algorithm will give you. And it also sometimes this is a great time of year to go through and see who you're following and maybe unfollow some of those that aren't so great, that aren't really feeding you a lot of positive, inspiring things as you are working on your day. It's a good time to kind of clean things out and make things look a little bit better. So yeah, and Jen's popping in the link, the Instagram links in there for the Ambitiously Alexa and the Ordinary and Happy. So super fun. Love to see those. So now we're going to go to our B side, right? That second page, which we like to call it the B side because we don't always listen to the B side, but sometimes we like to. So I think these are some of the more heavily repurposed sections, people doing different kinds of things on these. I think the meal plan is probably a pretty heavily repurposed section. I did pop in because that's the other thing that Ordinary and Happy will give you dinner ideas for the week. And this, I just kind of put in a little bit of the dinner ideas for January that are fun. And I put in some of the little charcuterie board pictures that I found. I'm very proud of the one on the bottom left because that I made that for one of my holiday parties. That's my little cheese and some pomegranate seeds and oranges and pecans and dates. So I was very proud of that. So I wanted to put that little picture in there to share with you. I love a good little charcuterie board. That's dinner for me, right? I love snacking on that and make, you can make it pretty. It's kind of fun. So here's a gajillion things that you can do with this section, right? You can obviously use it to plan your food. You can track your food. You can plan your dinners. You can use it for daily affirmations or exercise tracker. I will be using it for a packing clothing, like what clothes I need to wear and what I need to make sure to pack. I'll be having that in there. Super helpful there. Maybe it's a dream tracker, maybe it's a gratitude log, maybe it's a hooray list celebrating good things. So lots of different ways that you can use it. And yes, you can use it exactly as is, or you can change it up to kind of see what works for the week. That's the great thing. You're only stuck with it for a week. Then you can change it up next week and kind of see what might work well. Here's some examples, some kindness quote doodles, their week in reading, daily affirmations, some cleaning, make it happen. I also really like this little dopamine menu. You can pick some things that will give you some nice hits of dopamine that are not necessarily, there is a dessert, scroll social media, but notice it's a dessert, not an entree. It is having small doses, right? So there's lots of fun things that you can pick on there. And I'm going to go over all these areas and let you work on these. So there's also the mind body health plan, right? So maybe these are things you want to do for your mind and or your body this week. So things that help when it's dark out, right? We're still dealing with less sunlight. So maybe here's some things that you can do. Maybe you want to make a little bingo board. Maybe you want to remind yourself to love yourself, be quirky, be kind. Maybe you want to track something you did well this week, some ways that you loved others. I like the fun little alliteration one up in the top, Meatless Monday, TV Free Tuesday, Walking Wednesday. Those are kind of fun, excuse me, little pieces that you can put in there. We all love good hygge challenge, right? Hygge is that Scandinavian concept of cozy and that kind of warm, happy feeling. So different kinds of things you can do, the little challenge that you can have for each day. This is a good one to fill in for the mind body health. Our shopping list, obviously it can be a list of things that you want to or need to buy. This is also a good place for people trying to limit their shopping online, the impulse buy. So maybe you write down you were going to buy something that you saw, but you're going to hold off for 24 hours. So you write it down on the shopping list and then you wait 24 hours to see if you really want it the next day. So people have said that that can be really helpful. The next day they're like, I don't think I really want to spend the money on that. And they're able to pass on that. So again, intentions, a bingo board, some quotes, a list of chores, making sure you're filling your own cup with different things. Oops, I went a little too far. So there's all these different little areas, seeing how you use these spaces. Stickers, absolutely. If you've got some stickers that want to fulfill their sticker destiny, they want to be on your pages, they want you to use them, put them in these sections, right? Make them happy, give them something to do. So I'm going to play a little bit of music, we'll check back in, and then we'll wrap things up. All right. Well, believe it or not, We have come to the end of our time together. I don't know how this hour always goes by so quickly. There's always lots of fun things to do, fun things in the chat, fun things in the journal. So thank you all for spending some time with us this evening, getting that week set up, whether you use December's journal, January's journal, a combo of both. We would love to see your pictures there in Sonder Club. You can see all the pictures we have here came from real life Sonder fam, just like you. You never know who you're going to inspire with your pictures. So if you feel comfortable doing that, we love to see those, love to pop those in there. So I hope everyone has a fabulous evening, a great week. Getting ready to head into that new year. We have lots of socials coming up. We've got, I think, there's a weekly tomorrow morning, a monthly setup tomorrow night, and then I think another monthly setup on Tuesday morning. So lots of things for you to sign up for. Hopefully you are feeling good, ready to dive into the week. Don't forget about Meha's upcoming event on January 15th. I will be thinking of all of you. I know you all want to hop into my suitcase to go to Iceland. Believe me, if I could, I would. But I will try to post some pictures in Sonder Club so you can see some of the fun New Year's Eve festivities. And I hope everyone has a very safe and happy New Year's, and we will see you again soon.